Hello, hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is your girl Mitzi, and this is Mitzi. Let's think about it. Today, we are getting serious and speaking about emotional abuse. Let's be honest. Everybody, if you haven't yet, it's bound to happen in your life to feel the burn and the stings of emotional abuse. So,
Mhm.
luckily for me, I have a special guest on my show. She knows all about this topic. Sadly, but good thing, it's a double-edged sword at this point. But
Yeah.
Erica, thank you for joining. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Ericka Michelle Richburg. I'm the author of two books, Abandon Guilt and Absorb Gladness and Married to the Dream. And I unfortunately have experienced emotional abuse firsthand. However, I don't like what I've been through, and I'm able to talk about how I got through it, what happened. So I'm excited.
Awesome. I love it. I love your spirit. I can feel the energy. You have such a
Thank
good spirit.
you.
And it sucks because it seems like a lot of us who have good spirits have been through so much emotional abuse and all types of abuse. It's like
Yes.
they're molding us into this perfection. You know what I'm saying? I see us
Yes.
as we're like a clay and they're
Yes.
just chipping away at us. But you know what? Go ahead, chip the bad parts. You
Yep.
don't need them
Because
anyways,
I'm only
right?
gonna be better for it. Absolutely.
Exactly. I love it.
Yep.
I love it. So what made you want to share your story? Because let's be honest, when we're going through the emotion abuse at the moment, it's kind of hard to share yourself, share with other people. So what led you to this point to share?
What I've learned in my experience is I go through things because I'm strong enough to handle it. The other person that, I'm taking it for can't handle it. So even though it's hard and difficult, I'm able to get through it and then to share how I got through it. So that's how I can get to this point. And also counseling. Because yeah, when I first got out of it, I was so like traumatized and had so much anxiety that I really needed to process everything I experienced for those last 4 years. So that's how I'm able to do it now, because it's just like I went through it because somebody else didn't have to, and then I can help someone going through it too.
Exactly. I love that message. And I
Mm-hmm.
appreciate your honesty by just saying, and counseling, because
And
let's be
counseling.
honest, sometimes you have to keep it real because you can't just do it on your own. Sometimes it's really
No.
hard to do it on your own. Sometimes you have to go through counseling or go through your spiritual walk or find God or, connect with other people, but it takes time. I truly
Yes.
believe it does take time. And the fact that you said that it makes you stronger and you took it for somebody else that probably couldn't be able to handle it.
Handle it. Mm-hmm.
It just shows that, you see yourself as a warrior, you see
Yep.
yourself as a strong individual, and I applaud you for that because
Thank you.
sometimes we can't see ourselves in that aspect, we go in this suffering and this woe me and this
Woe
pity
it's me.
party and
Why did I have to
oh
go do this? Mm-hmm. Yep.
and people love pity parties.
Yep.
Man, pity party for one, they be going all out, banners, balloons, confetti, just to have their own little pity party.
Party.
I
Yep.
swear. It's sad. It's so sad, but I love your answer. I think that's really great. But are your books, do they bring out that part of you that went through your experiences?
Absolutely. So my first book really goes into the details of what I've experienced with my ex, and we call him number two. He doesn't even deserve a name, and
Like
yeah,
that.
and,
I like
the number
that.
two too. So it's
I love
and,
it.
and so it really just explains, like, the ebbs and flows of the relationship and the emotional roller coaster and the disrespect and everything emotionally draining. It was a draining relationship that I've experienced, but the beauty of getting my daughter and how beautiful she is and the life that she's living and how he's just missing out. So that is definitely detailed in my first book. My second one is just how I got through it and now me being in a better place.
Yeah.
So, but the
That's
first
good.
one really chronicles the ish.
The nitty-gritty of it, yes,
Yes.
the juicy part of that. And I love how individuals like yourself, they write books of what they've experienced, because let's be honest, we don't know if someone's going through that right now as we
Mm-hmm.
speak. You
Yeah.
know, and in my opinion, I believe that emotional abuse is just the first step into breaking down all those other type of abuses that are along with it, like physical,
Yep.
sexual. I
Yep.
mean, come on, the list can go on. I mean, if you're willing to break someone's spirit, because that's
Yep.
what you basically are doing
Yep.
when you're inflicting emotional abuse on someone else, is that you're breaking their spirit. But
Yep.
it's like a phoenix, you know. We you think you break me, but honey, I am just flying
Still
and
rise.
soaring and prospering, right?
Yes.
Oh my goodness, it's beautiful. It's beautiful to speak to someone like yourself who can truly have that perspective, who can truly see this. And I know you said that you wanted to share your story and you put it in a book, but what really got you to that point where you're like, I need to write this down, or this needs to be in some type of form to be expressing? Was it your counselor, or was it just something inside you that you knew that this needed to be out into the world?
Well, my story basics, it starts from my infertility journey. So I felt like I was just not good enough as a woman because I couldn't do the one thing that most women can naturally do. So because I was feeling already low, all he did was just what's that, exacerbate it. Like he just made it, he magnified how low I felt and just kept adding towards it. So that's how the book came about. So it started from my infertility journey, and then talking about how he didn't want my child when I told him I was expecting, and it took me 12 years to conceive her. So it was just like, it wasn't happenstance, it wasn't an accident. I paid for it, and then you're gonna say this is not what you want. So it was just telling, that story. So a lot of women have to go through the shame of being infertile for whatever reason. So I just wanted to bring that to light, like you're not alone. And then the being with a narcissist and being emotionally abused or any form of abuse, you're not alone. So that's why I shared it
That's
that
good.
way.
I like that.
Yeah.
Do you think you were able to, when you were writing this, do you think you were able to feel better now with your infertility process and having your baby? I mean, do you feel like it made you a woman? Or, I mean, because I feel like you're still a woman even if you never had a child, because
Well, for me personally, I know I was a woman, but my dream and desire was to be a mother. I never cared about anything else. So for me not to be, and I'm a very controlling person. So for me not to have that one thing and I had no control over it, that was like my issue. And then I was able to write about it and journal about it and process those feelings. But then once I did see my very first positive pregnancy test, and then to not have somebody share in the same joy that I had, so it was just like, yay for me. But then it was like, well, I don't want you or the baby. So it was just like a happy, sad moment at the same time.
yeah, because it's like you think you're on the same level, and then all of a sudden it's like, no, you're not.
No, you just sucked
That's
the wind and life out of everything.
right. It's like that movie that J-Lo made where she had infertility issues, and then once she finally did the process, she ended up meeting a guy and ended up having twins. Like, that's your story, but
Yep.
with a twist, the man didn't want to stay. Like,
Yep.
it's not the
Yep.
fairy tale ending. And I
Yep.
think that's reality. Let's be honest,
Yep.
that's reality. It happens to a lot of
A
women
lot
when
of women. The
you have this
infertility
desire.
process is very draining on couples. So even without the abusive piece, there are some people that once they do finally get that ending, their relationship just crumbles. So that is a part of it. So like even though they were in the process together and it was a happy moment, all the stress associated with it, it just makes the relationship dissolve. Yeah.
Yeah, to be honest, because once you acknowledge that you don't see eye to eye, then what's the point of
What's the
continuing on?
point?
It's like
Yep.
we're on two different paths. You go that way, I'll go my way, and if we connect, well, we connect, and if we don't, well,
But
see you
see,
later, because I ain't
but
gonna miss you.
even with that attitude, I didn't have that attitude. I was still holding on. I was
Oh,
still trying to figure out how, even with you not wanting me, even with you not wanting my daughter, how can we still coexist without being together. So I was still trying to figure it out. So I didn't just let it go. I was still trying. And then it was the final straw. It was the day before the pandemic and the world closed. It was March 16th. And he was just like, I don't want to be with you. And I literally saw myself letting go. Like I just stopped trying to figure out, and that was it. And I was at peace because I saw a documentary of a lady who was had terminal cancer. She had 4 children. I was watching it on Netflix. She had 4 children, and I just loved how much her husband loved her and how much her children loved her. And I saw that, and I was just like, if I was to have a terminal illness, I would die from the lack of support before I would die from the illness. And I was just like, this is no way to live.
Wow, that's deep. That's really deep.
Yep.
Wow. I feel like you need to say, can you say it again for the people in the back?
But yeah, so like I felt like I would have died if I was to be diagnosed in that relationship with a terminal illness. I would have died from the lack of support before the illness.
That's so true. Oh my
Yep.
goodness. I hope this wakes somebody up
Yep.
because that's a reality.
It
If you
is.
really can't see yourself in that situation where your partner can take care of you to real death, do you part?
Yep.
Then why have that person around?
Yep.
You can if anything, save enough money and pay for nurses.
Yep.
Sometimes you'll get better nurses to the end of your day
Then
than
your
a
family member.
significant other and your family
Yep.
members, right? And I
Yep.
guess it's important to, that's why they say how you treat your children. I mean, how you treat your children and your relationship with your children will reflect when they're older as an adults if they still want to have a
Have a
relationship.
relationship. Yep.
And the fact that that lady had her children still want to have a relationship with her just says a lot because
And the doting husband, I mean, the way he doted on her, loved on her, which made her, she lived like 5 more years past what they predicted. So I was just like, it's just powerful in support versus lack of support. And I was just like, yep, no, this is not the life. I mean, the silent treatment, I don't want to, I mean, literally, every day this man wanted to get a divorce. He would not talk to me. He would block me. If I had wanted to get in contact with him, I couldn't. We worked in the same building, and he was just disrespectful with all of the other women and all the comments. And it was just, and he would always say I was insecure. He was like, "You're so insecure." If I was insecure, the whole building would be blown up. So I'm not. I was very secure, but I wanted him to act right. And even in him not acting right, I was still compromising. And okay, if you're still going to do these things, can I at least know beforehand? Why do I have to find out from somebody else? Or why don't I get to know at all? Like he would just move however he wanted to do, irregardless of me. And I always made sure I honored him. So it was just, I wasn't a priority at all.
yeah. And it sucks the relationship's like that because I've been in a relationship like that and it is truly draining. Like,
It's draining.
and I know people are listening and they're like, why didn't she just get a clue and figure it out sooner? It was like, it's hard. You
Because
know what I
when
mean?
you're loyal, when you are loyal and you love, you're not just gonna walk away. Like you're gonna try to figure out what you can do until you can't do it anymore. That's
Exactly.
that's my philosophy. You keep doing it until you can't do it anymore. And I was trying, and I just was like, I can't do it anymore.
And that's the beauty of it because at least you can have the peace of mind that you did everything that you could possibly
That's what we
do
do.
to save the relationship. Because you know what? Maybe it could have gotten better, but maybe it didn't on purpose. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? So like,
Exactly. And like I filed, the man wanted a divorce every day. I filed for divorce on my birthday, the year after he said he wanted a divorce on my birthday. I move out. 2 weeks later, he cries, I miss you, I love you, I wasn't a good husband, blah, 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 blah. Well, of course I believe that. He was like, oh, we can go to counseling because everything about us was opposite, like social economic situation, age, like nothing was in common. And so I was like, okay. So I come back and nothing changed. It only got worse. It only got worse. And I was just like, so I did everything I could. And I even had to pay, because you know how, like, if you file for divorce, it'll just keep going and going. And it'll finally dismiss. I paid to have it dismissed so it wouldn't keep coming back. So that was a lot of money. And for
yeah.
me to just have to file for divorce a year after that.
Wow. Yeah, no, I don't blame you. Divorce is expensive. People don't realize like it's easier to just stay in the relationship because of finances. Let's be
Yep,
honest. And that's the reason why some people hate their spouse and do whatever they do on the side because they rather deal with it than to actually deal with the
go
finances
through the
that come with
motions.
divorce. And yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. And I am so curious to know. I mean, because emotional abuse affects us, and I know I see your spirit is so happy and so joyful, and and it seems like you are still optimistic despite what you went through.
absolutely.
I mean, how does that affect you just seeing the world and interacting with people in general? Like,
Well,
do you walk with caution still?
nope. And I think that's my problem too. Because I've been in this whole dating scene, I've kissed a lot of frogs. So I think because of my naivety and my desire to see the world with butterflies and rainbows, I always see the good. I really do. I see the good in every single thing. And that's how I keep getting bad things happen to me because I don't have a skewed perspective. Like everybody gets 100%. You know how some people you have to earn trust and you have to, all these guards you got to bring down. I give you 100% until you show me otherwise. Like that's
Yeah.
just my personality and it's always been. But because I have this personality, I get preyed on. They see me as, oh well, I can take advantage of her or I can get what I want from her. I don't really have to do nothing type thing. So
Yeah.
they don't see it as, oh well, or they say I'm too good to be true, and then they don't want to be with me because they can't receive the love that I just exude.
Yeah, I hate
So
that line. It irks me like, oh, how dare you say that to me? You know what
yep.
I'm saying?
Yep. They're like, you're too good to be
Good.
true. I'm like, well, why can't it just be that you
Good.
finally met your person? Like, why does it have to be like something's wrong or you waiting for me to switch up? Like, I'm very consistent. I don't switch up. Even if I'm upset, I will. If I say I'm gonna do something, I follow through with what I say I'm gonna do. Most people, when they get upset, they not doing it anymore. So I'm a very honorable person, and they just don't believe it. And so I get,
You're a different type of character. Let's be honest.
yeah.
You're unique in its kind. And when you find someone that's unique in who they are, I mean, if you wear your heart on your sleeve, then honey, wear your heart on your sleeve because you know what?
Mhm.
That's 10 times better than being cold and closed off and bitter. I
Yep.
mean, let's be
And
honest. I
I've lost a lot of friends because
right.
of my because
Mhm.
of when I was in my lowest, going through the worst of worst, they were right there, right there, right there. As I became, and you could see in my face, like 3 years ago to now, how I was just like sunken in and just didn't look cute or nothing. And now I'm happy and they're nowhere to be found. It's like they like me in that miserable place versus wanting to see me get better and be healed and be, this bubbly person. I've always been a bubbly person, but you can tell that there's a difference between then and how I am now. And
Yeah.
it's unfortunate because, again, that's my loyalty. If I call you that FRIEND word, then that's what you are. But it's not reciprocal. So even with girls or guys, when it comes to me, it's just more what they can benefit in for them, but it's never a reciprocal
Yeah,
situation.
it's funny that you say that because it sounds like I'm talking to myself because that's how I feel. I feel that I'm that type of person that I remember having so many friends on my worst years, you know what I mean? I
Mm-hmm.
can remember
Yep.
my worst years and being surrounded by people that would feed my ear with everything and just praise me for nothing. And now that I'm actually doing something and now that I'm striving for more and now that I'm more reserved because I'm focused.
Mm-hmm.
No one's there. You know
No
what I
one's
mean? It's
there.
crickets.
Yep.
Crickets. I need to get a sound effect thingy where I have the crickets. Because
Cricket.
how do you make a cricket sound? Cricket.
Cricket.
No, cricket sound effects. Goodness, that was a perfect moment. Anyways, it's true. Sometimes they're never there, and it's funny because I had a guest on my show and we spoke about friendships and I guess when we spoke about this part and it just shows that at that point we're transitioning in a different area that they just can't come
Just
on.
can't go with. They can't come.
They just
And
they
people
can't.
are here for reasons and seasons. And my journey it stops there, and I keep on moving. So I have no it's no love lost. If I see you in the store, hey, how you doing? But life goes on. I always say my presence is a privilege, so
Yeah.
everybody don't get all this.
Yes, exactly. Let's be honest. I remember telling that to someone, like I knew that our friendship was coming to an end, but she didn't want it to end. She wanted to hold on to it. And I was like, it's just for a season. And she's like, what do you
Yeah.
mean it's just for a season? How can you
Yep.
tell me it's just for a season? What do you mean a season? I'm like, if you think about life in the grander of things, like now
Hmm.
let's get out of the box, sweetheart. Let's broaden our minds and really think about this because if you think about life, you have seasons, not
Yep.
just seasons like the weather, like seasons in your life where you go through pain, you go through struggle, you go through selfishness, you go through selflessness, you know what I mean? You
Hmm.
go through
Yep.
so many stages in our lives that to feel stuck means that you are not doing
Oh.
anything.
Yep.
You are not making that change in your life and that change in your momentum and in the way you're thinking, then you are the reason why it's stuck. And it's funny because I just posted on my social media where you can't complain about living the same year 75 years and act like your life is going to be different. I
Yep.
mean, you can't. You can't. And um what has been like your medicine, like what's your medicine for handling this besides like writing
My
and
medicine for handling just
emotional
being like
regulation?
having this Zen
Yeah,
personality.
exactly.
I am social media dark. I do not let that, what other people have to say and all that. I don't let that feed into me. So before I was obsessed. I'd be like scrolling, looking, but I got too consumed. So how I am able to handle things is just stay away from it. If I see
Yeah.
like I do watch like different shorts on YouTube, but like as far as Facebook, Twitter, any of that, TikTok, none of that. No.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you
Yeah.
because it got to a point in my life where I became obsessed with it. And I felt like the followers was needed and everything. Like, and it was just the trend that was at the time, and it was so overwhelming that it put me in like anxiety overload where I was just like, I'm done. So
Yeah.
a whole entire year I devoted myself and I was just like, I'm gonna fast social media. I'm not gonna go on it. And man, I'm telling you, that year was the best year of
Best.
my life.
Yeah.
I felt so peace. I was just enjoying my surroundings. And when I was on my phone, I would be on like YouTube videos, watching like
Mm-hmm. Yep.
documentaries and
Yep.
a
Like
whole
things
bunch
that'll
of
feed you,
yeah,
not
and even
deplete
scary
you.
things because I like to get razzle dazzled. But I know exactly what you mean. And when now that I'm back on, like I don't even go to anything on my personal. Like I have it there so that when people need to
People can
connect with
reach
me
you.
personally, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they can reach me because nobody has my phone number. You know what I mean? And I like it
Mm-hmm.
like that. So if they don't even have my email address, yeah, they wouldn't even know. So social media is the only way, and it's like I don't go on there, and I have my notifications turned off, and it's so peaceful. And then I only post and have these things scheduled on my business social media because it's like I don't even want to go on there. Like I don't care if I have one follower or
Yep.
10,000 followers because I'm posting this for
For
myself, for my
yourself.
future self.
Yep.
And even if it's just one single person, then you know what, at least they can reflect and
That's
think with
one.
me. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean?
Yep.
So I know exactly what you're saying. Like we're like we're
Yes,
right
we
here,
are here.
Erica.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, I love these conversations. It's like talking to a friend. You know what
Yes.
I'm saying? Because it's so easy and so comfortable and it's safe and there's no pressure, you know what I mean? It's not about acting a certain way. It's about just being real and
Being you,
sharing your
yourself.
emotions. And I'm
Yeah.
so glad that you were able to share your emotions with me and share your experience and, be honest. And before we wrap up, I have one more question because it's in the back of my mind when you said you always had the passion to be a mother.
Yes.
That statement is very strong because I've heard many women say that and for me, pregnancy was always implemented as something bad because it always happened at a young age. You know what I'm saying? So when I got my period at a very young age, I was 8 years old, they always assumed that I was going to get pregnant like early. So
Yep.
I
Don't have sex because you don't get pregnant.
dreaded,
Don't have sex
I
because you don't get pregnant.
exactly. So I dreaded the thought of being a mother because not only will it it made me look bad, but it made me look bad. You know what I'm saying? So I hated the thought of being a mother until I had my children. And now it's like, oh, I love my children. Oh, how having children is such a blessing. So it's like
Yeah.
for you, it's like what made you want to have that feeling at even what age were you when you realized that?
Well, I want to say, like, you know how when you're in school and they ask you what you want to be when you grow up? Since that age, I always wanted to be a mother.
Stop.
I never wanted to be a doctor, a nurse, a lawyer, none of that. A mother. That's what I wanted to be.
Oh,
Yeah. So
goodness. And
since
what
elementary school,
was your mother a
before a
good
period.
mother?
Huh?
Mm, was your mother a good mother that made you want to be a mother?
No, I mean my mother. Okay, so growing up, my mother was a very hard person. Like she
Oh,
wasn't open, and she wasn't like go to like it was
yeah,
not as
close
open
off.
as we are now. So as an adult, it's much better, but as a child, it was more fear than
Yeah.
fun. And so no, it was just me wanting to, I guess maybe have a little version of myself, but I never cared if it was a boy or girl. I just wanted to nurture and love and I don't know, but
No,
that's
oh,
just
I think from what you're saying, it makes sense now because, your mother was hard, she was strict, she was on it, and you had a lot of fear. There wasn't that nurturing, there wasn't that love. So sometimes instinctively we feel like if we had a baby, then we can show it all the love and just give it all the cariño and the love, me,
yes.
all that
And that's how
lovey-dovey
and that's how I
stuff.
am with my daughter. Oh my gosh, she'd be looking at me like, if you give me one more kiss, but I'm always kissing and hugging and saying I love you. Like, yeah, I'm extra. And even with my boyfriend, he be like, you're doing too much. I'm like, but I just love. I'm very affectionate. So
Yes, I
yeah.
I don't blame you because I'm like that with my sons, and it's funny because my sons act like they don't like it around their dad, and then when he's not looking, he'll be like,
Give me kiss.
kisses,
And
or he'll
she'll
put
turn
his
my
face.
head.
Yeah,
hmm
it's so cute. I love it. I love giving affection too because it's like a type of joy. Oh,
Yep.
it's good. Has been such a great time speaking with you, Erica. So I guess to wrap up the show, what would be some good lasting words that you could possibly leave my audience with? Somebody who may be going through some type of emotional abuse and maybe listening and trying to figure out what can I really learn from this? What could be that last lesson that you can possibly leave off with?
The lesson I would give the person going through it, like in it, and they feel like they're stuck, find their happy place. Like even in the midst of the turmoil, whatever that is, whether it's a bath with bubbles, whether it's music, whether it's Dave and Buster's, like whatever can get you away in your mind or even physically until you can get away permanently. So
Yeah.
finding that happy place and just know that this is just a part of your story. And if you really want to get away, you can. It just might take a little bit of time. But once you done, you ain't no turning back.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. You guys heard it first from Erica, this lovely, lovely woman with a beautiful soul. She is so awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your perspective and just shining your light on my show. This has been such an honor and so great. And if anybody is just trying to figure out this emotional abuse, just main thing also, it's a season.
Yep.
It's a season in your life.
Yep.
Just keep telling yourself this to keep going because I had to do it. Pretty sure
Mm-hmm.
Erica had to do it.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, when it's time to let go, truly, truly let go because like Erica said, it's a rainbow on the other side. It's this type of joy. Like how dare I deprive
Yep.
myself from this feeling for so long? Like I'm telling you, you're gonna truly love who you are after everything that you've gone through. So
Absolutely.
take care, be safe, and always, 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 always keep thinking, y'all. Bye.